organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source from the Daily Iowan. I'm John Detcott here in the Daily Iowan newsroom to give you an update about what's been going on around Iowa City. Well, it could be a while before the UI finds someone to run the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dean Linda Maxson spent 15 years in the position and announced her resignation back in July. She will stay on until the end of June 2012. The university will begin forming a search committee in September, but they say they will also use an outside agency to aid in the search. Officials are hopeful that they will have a replacement hired by late June, just before Maxson's resignation becomes effective. And doctors are making advancements in the treatment of brain injuries thanks to a new volunteer program at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. In January, the UIHC launched the Iowa Traumatic Brain Injury Registry, which asks participants to track their progress as they recover from serious brain injuries. Now, participants self-report changes in behavior and take tests aimed at gauging their memory and language skills. The program's overall goal is a better understanding of the recovery process for brain injuries so that doctors may better treat patients in the future. And a recent study has shown that student debt has actually exceeded America's credit card debt. This can be worrisome to students as they start another year. Daily Iowa TV's Tasha Woods takes a look at how they plan on paying for it.
With classes underway, students are also busy working to make ends meet. And education isn't cheap after all, and America is really beginning to feel the heat. For the first time in history last June, Americans owed an incredible $833 billion on their student loans. This number has actually exceeded America's credit card debt of $826.5 billion.
There's multiple variables causing, I think, that increase in student debt. And again, part of it is tuition costs going up. Part of it is price of gas going up, food going up, loans being available that 15 years ago weren't available to students. Went from the fact that most federal loans were deed-based, now they're not. Interest rates have varied.
According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the total student loan debt increased a whopping 511% between 1999 and 2011. This steep rise in student debt is actually twice as steep as the price of mortgages and home equity rates, which peaked in 2008. With so much debt looming over the heads of students, they are left wondering how their futures will hang in the balance. Tasha Woods, Daily Iowan TV.
Wagner also advises students to stick to the basics and only borrow what they need for education to avoid larger debt burdens following graduation. Now, for more questions about financial assistance, you can visit the Office of Financial Aid in Calvin Hall. A North Liberty woman had to be taken to the hospital after allegedly being held against her will and assaulted in her own home. Kenneth Clark is being charged with domestic abuse assault after allegedly beating up the mother of his 2 children. The victim told police the attack took place over a 17-hour period in which she was not allowed to leave the couple's home. According to police, the victim suffered cuts and bruises on her head, and her eyes were nearly swollen shut. With the UI continually looking for ways to go green, more university vehicles could be powered by the sun. The UI recently opened a newly constructed solar-powered charging station for electric cars. The project cost over $850,000, but with the 8 vehicles that use the station, the university is going to save over $9,000 a year on gas. The station can power up to 37 cars, however, and officials are considering expanding the university's fleet of electric vehicles. For more on the new power station, be sure to check out Tuesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. And as if it wasn't a big enough part of people's lives already, the UIHC is now using Facebook to help patients keep track of their medication. The new application called Iowa MedMinder is designed to help young people keep track of their medication schedule following treatment. Doctors say teenagers usually do a good job of staying on their medication initially, but tend to forget as they start feeling better, leading to a high number of kidney failures. And now for all things Hawkeye sports, let's send it over to Daily Iowan TV sports director Jake Abrams at the sports desk. Jake?
All right, thanks, John. Fans returned to Grant Field last weekend to watch the black and gold field hockey squad beat Louisville in exhibition play. And although this team may be young, Coach Griesbaum and her players don't think that's going to be such a problem. 19 Hawkeye players are on the field hockey roster, yet only one senior will be wearing cleats this season. All eyes are on Becky Spangler to be this year's leader, and her coach is confident in her growth.
Becca's been a 3-year captain, and I think really she's taken small steps every single year. She didn't have to do a ton more. She's already a phenomenal leader. We really wanted her to really focus on her game, because the leadership she just takes such pride in. It's not a challenge to her. She comes very naturally.
But Spangler knows that she can't lead this team alone and is sure that her teammates will lead their fair share.
I have the rest of my team underneath me. The juniors really helped their entire class, but also my other captains, JB and Murdy, we're really working together to try to pull the team together. So it's not just an individual responsibility.
The last time the Hawks were in the NCAA tournament was in 2008, and older players know that they have to set guidelines for the younger players and teach them how the system works in order to get back there.
I'm trying to be more of a communicator this year, looking to help the younger teammates kind of understand what the deal is. Just working hard, giving 100% all the time is kind of my role.
Spangler, Barnett, and the rest of the Hawkeyes will be back in action this weekend when they take on Wake Forest in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. But field hockey isn't the only sport on campus with talented young leaders. 2 volleyball players, including Rachel Bedell, spent time playing for Team USA. Rachel played in Europe, bringing back more experience to the UI. I caught up with head coach Sharon Dingman earlier to get her thoughts on her outside hitter.
All right, I'm here with head coach Sharon Dingman. Sharon, you have some players that played overseas this summer. Explain what you think their experience overseas is going to bring to this program here.
I think the first thing that Rachel probably noticed is that the volleyball is different, and they're more experienced probably than what Rachel typically plays against, and 2, it is a different. I mean, they get back there and they bomb that ball when they're serving. I mean, they serve at a much higher level than we serve in our country. They just play differently as far as probably being a little bit smarter. They'll use their shots a lot more. And so I hope that, in my hope in Rachel going over there was that those are some of the things that she learned. That you got to learn how to use shots, and but then the overall experience of just traveling, and being in different countries, and I mean, how can that not help one just grow as a human?
The volleyball team opens up the 2011 season at 7 p.m. this Friday at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And though the first matchup isn't until October, 5 Hawkeye sports teams will be facing a new conference foe in Nebraska. Daily Iowan TV's Ian Martin takes a look at the matches to look forward to this fall.
Penn State was the last team to join the Big Ten after punting independence in 1993, but no longer. Now Hawkeye sports teams have a new rival in neighboring Nebraska. They are now an addition to old rivals such as Wisconsin and Ohio State, but more than just gridiron Hawkeyes will be seeing the red and white across the field from them in the upcoming season. Let's have a look. Women's volleyball will be the first team to travel to Lincoln on October 19th, followed by soccer on the 20th. Men's and women's cross country will see the Huskers at the Big Ten Championships in Champaign, and of course, Farmageddon on 11/25. Now, volleyball gets a quick special note on the schedule as they are the only team hosting the Huskers in Iowa City the upcoming fall. Ian Martin, DITV Sports.
All right, thanks, Ian. The Iowa women's soccer season is barely underway, but the team is already getting some recognition. Senior Iowa soccer goalkeeper Emily Moran has been honored by the Big Ten as the league's Defensive Player of the Week. Moran is the first Hawkeye to win the award since Kelly McLaughlin won it in 2009. That's your Hawkeye Sports Update. Back to you in the newsroom.
Thanks, Jake. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Tuesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about how UI students are teaming up with local seniors to write songs based on both old and new experiences, plus find out how Representatives Braley and Harking are asking for help finding ways to fix the economy. And before we go, here's a quick look at your local weather forecast. Tomorrow might be a hot one with a high of 87 degrees and a low of just 70. Could get a little cool down though with a 40% chance of thunderstorms. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, Wednesday will be the hottest day of the week with a high around 90 degrees before temperatures drop back down to the low 80s. And try to get outside in between classes because it should be a nice one with no rain expected all week. That's your latest update from Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm John Dedcott. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.